I'm Jason. My family and I live in a small jungle village in Papua New Guinea, one of the most isolated places on earth, and I tell stories. Welcome to Yahweh's Canoe. Let me tell you about the first time I unknowingly participated in sorcery. This was in the early days in Wabaku, and it was late one afternoon. A group of teenage boys came to my house. One of them knocked on the door, and when I opened the door, one of them said, "Doru ani arenmi," which means decoration water, give to us. I said, "Doru ani ne oraye." What do you mean? What do you mean decoration water? And they said, "Oh, amo ani fuma wo nana amo doru ani te." When you go wash in the river, you have this decoration water. Sat for a minute. Oh, soap. They were asking me for soap. I said, "Okay, I have soap, but I don't have enough to give to all of you. I only have a little bit." And they said, "That's okay. We only need a little bit." So I went inside the house, and on the shelf was one of those travel size bottles of hand sanitizer. This one was bright red and then had those like sparkly beads inside of it. So I gave them the small bottle of hand sanitizer, and as soon as they saw it, they were really excited. They were talking quickly amongst themselves, and they even were like elbowing each other in the ribs, like, yeah, that's the stuff. And they said, "Okay, we need one more thing." I said, "But wait a minute, what are you doing with this what are you doing with this doruani?" And they didn't really answer me. They said, "We need one more thing. We need one of those needles that you give to somebody who's really sick to shoot medicine into them." I said, "Okay, guys, you can't put this doruani, this decoration water, into the needle and shoot it into somebody. That'll make them really sick. You can't do that. I'm not going to give you a needle for that." I said, No, that's not what we need the needle for. We just need the sharp of the needle." So I went inside and I grabbed one of those needles that was still sealed in plastic and gave them a hypodermic needle. And they were excited about that too. But I asked again, "What are you doing with this?" And they again wouldn't give me an answer. But they turned around and had like a little huddle at the bottom of my stairs. He talked for just a moment. Then one of them turned around and he said, "After dark, come to Jebri's house and we'll show you what we're doing." Yeah, absolutely. Sold. I'm intrigued. So they left my house. I went back inside. And as soon as dark came, I left my house again, stepped down outside in it. I remember it was just a pitch black night, no moon, no stars, clouds covering everything. I had to use my flashlight's phone to find the trail to get to Jebri's house. So I walked to Jebri's house and I could hear talking in the house. But as I got closer, the talking all stopped. And so I called out to them. I said, "Hey, it's me. Can I come up?" They said, "Yeah, come up, but come quickly." I walked up their log ladder, stepped inside, and as soon as I was inside, they shut the door behind me and kind of latched it, closed it, which was abnormal. I've never seen that before. Inside the house were about a dozen teenage boys, no women, no children, and they were all huddled around the fire, which was low, so it was really dark in the house. But as I looked closer, I saw that they had half a coconut shell, and all the hand sanitizer they had dumped into the coconut shell, and they were stirring it. And now it wasn't a bright red, it was like a darker red. So I asked them what they're doing, and they said they were making obio ani, which translates to love water. Love water. I had a million questions immediately. And I said, "What are you going to do with the love water?" And they said, "There's a girl upriver. We're going to give her the love water. She's going to drink it and then fall in love with rockweed." Oh, they're making a love potion. Okay, I said, "How are you going to get this girl to drink the love potion?" And they said, "Well, we're going to put it into this buai seed. And when she eats the buai seed, she'll drink the love potion. And then she'll fall in love with rockweed." But they said, not just fall in love. They said, this stuff is so strong that, they said, "You ever seen a puppy that just follows its mom around? That's how this girl's going to follow rockweed around. She won't want to go anywhere else. She's just going to follow him around and be super in love with him." I said, "Okay." And then I asked another question. "What did you put in the love water?" They said, "Well, you have to put bits of the person who she's going to fall in love with." So Rockwe had shaved one of his armpits and put his armpit hair in to the love potion, and he cut off some of his hair and some other hair and put it into the love potion. And he also was spitting into the love potion and stirring it up. At this point, I started to get nervous. I wondered to what I had become an accomplice to. I was debating, do I get my needle back and stop them from doing this? Do I tell them it's wrong? Do I let it play out? I wasn't sure how to play it. And just then, someone else had kind of walked up to the house. You could hear their footsteps. Everybody stopped talking again. They asked who it was, and then they told them to go away quickly. I asked who it was, and they said, oh, we're in Jebry's house. That was Jebry's wife. But if Jebry's wife comes up the ladder, opens the door, and even smells this love potion, she'll fall in love with Rockwe, and then we got a big problem. So again, I was worried about what I should do in this moment. Should I continue to participate in this? Should I get out? Just then, they were pouring the love potion into the plunger of the needle, and then they were trying to inject the love potion into this buai seed. But thankfully, one of those beads from the hand sanitizer had gotten stuck in the needle, and they couldn't get anything through. Eventually, they were satisfied enough. They had gotten enough in to the buai seed, and I said, guys, I gotta go. Thanks for showing me this. And I left the house and walked out. And I was torn, feeling worried and, I don't know, a little guilty, maybe. What have I participated in? This is an act of sorcery. They're trying to bend this girl's will to fall in love with a potion. And I had participated, given them the elements. The reason they were saying that this love potion was so strong was because that hand sanitizer had those little sparkly beads in the bright red water, which just looks magical. So they thought, oh yeah, man, this is going to work so well. So I'm torn, leaving the house, asking God if I did something stupid, if I shouldn't go back and try to stop this. But the dilemma was this. If I were to tell these guys, no, you shouldn't do this, then maybe I'd stop this girl from getting poisoned by spit and body hair and hand sanitizer. But I would have lost the opportunity to then be invited into this inner circle, this behind the scenes, behind the curtain moment where they were inviting me into. And my job as someone who is studying their language and culture, I have to see what's behind the scenes. I have to know what goes on in their thinking behind the scenes. So I didn't want to ruin that opportunity for myself. But at the same time, I also didn't want to participate with whatever was about to happen or endorsing sorcery. So that was my dilemma. I left the house and didn't know if what I chose was right. And I found that became a pattern, that often I was in these lose-lose situations and didn't know if I made the right choice. A few weeks later, I asked Rockwe, followed up, how did it go? I said, I don't see her following you around like a lost puppy. Did it work or did it not work? And he said, well, we don't know. One of the guys snuck it into her belum, into her purse, and she ate the buai seed, but she must not have kept it in her mouth long enough or not have swallowed enough of the love potion, because her dad just said that she's not allowed to marry me, so I guess it didn't work. So I was a bit thankful, and that was the first time that I participated in sorcery unknowingly, and thankfully it was ineffective.